You are watching or listening. I'm very excited to have with us a actress that if you do not recognize, you should recognize because she has been in some films that I know our audience has appreciated and watched. And a lot of those films are alongside a director, which I know our audience knows in Neil Marshall. But Miss Charlotte Kirk has done everything that I have talked about on this show, from coming from the UK, theater actress, making her way to the USA, several sci-fi thrillers, you could say borderline horror movies, to straight horror movies, to going back to start your own production company, and now under your own banner, again, teaming with Neil, we have coming up here this action-packed movie, Duchess, that looks rad as hell from the trailer. Firstly, thank you for coming on. Secondly, congratulations on all your success. And how are you doing today?
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And I'm doing very well. Yeah, it's nice and sunny here in the UK, so that's always nice. That helps when the sun's out.
I'm in the UK, man. I have a theater background too, and when I got my degree, because I emphasized in Shakespearean stuff, and when I got my degree, I went out there to the globe and everything, and I think I saw the sun like one day in the UK.
You're in Los Angeles?
A few hours north.
Nice, nice. It's just no place like California, is there really? The weather.
Yeah, I mean, we complain because it's always, right now it's 115 plus where I am, and it's like, wow. Do you want that or do you want to not see the sky? So
exactly. No, definitely the sun all day, every day. It just makes such a difference, I think.
Yeah. Well, you began your acting career. I was excited to ask you this because you started in live theater performing. Mm-hmm. And what was the end goal always to transition into film?
Yes. I mean, I was doing theatre. I did theatre a lot in drama school. Mm-hmm. I did most of my theatre in Los Angeles when I transitioned to the States, to LA when I was 19. So once I moved to the States, I did quite a lot of theatre there. I went to Lee Strasberg, so some theatre there as well in Los Angeles. So yeah, I love both. Very, very different, but both have their strengths and weaknesses. Both are enjoyable in different ways.
Yeah, when you transitioned, did it trip you out? Because I know it tripped me out when I went to film school after theater school, not performing in front of a live audience.
Yeah,
and yeah.
But I feel like if you can do theatre, you can, cinema is like a walk in the park. Very different, different, but you can remember all your lines and, hit the mark and all that stuff. You can do cinema. Absolutely.
I totally agree with that statement as the behind the scenes theater vibe. If transitioned into film and you're ahead of the game, I think.
Yeah.
But we'll go back and talk about some of your earlier work, but now you have started your own production company, and this movie Duchess, it looks like, I mean, your character, she looks like a modern day, like amped up version of Laura Croft almost. Like you are going on this run of just badassery. Like, talk to me about like the inspiration and where this thing came to be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Duchess would be now my third film. I've done films after this in my production company, but my third film that I produced. I did 2 horror films before this, The Reckoning and The Lair. Very, very different. Yeah. And with my partner at the time, Neil Marshall, we were sitting there and we were like, okay, what do we want to do next? We've done horror. What's next? And then we started talking about you know, the great gangster movies, the Scarface, Goodfellas, The Departed, like just classics. And we're like, oh my God, how amazing would it be to make a gangster movie? But how about a gangster movie with a woman boss? Like, we haven't seen that before. So we wrote it in 2018 and shot it in 2022. So it's quite some time in the making. And yeah, that's kind of how it came about. Like, it's like, if we can be like just as half as good as one of those films, we're absolutely winning. And yeah, you know, she's an anti-hero. I think her journey is, I think you really feel for all the characters. You know, a lot of these revenge movies, the revenge happens in the first 5 minutes, which is, I think, you don't get to understand or know or care for the characters. Sure. So, you know, another inspiration was Man on Fire with Denzel Washington. That you've got to care and know and love the characters before, you know, halfway through the revenge took place. So I think that is a big part of it. Is we've changed it up a little bit. It's still a lot of action and violence and the fun stuff, but it's got it's got layers to it, and I think that's what makes it interesting. You know, it's really ultimately about a woman's rise to power in the underground of the seedy underworld of diamonds, really.
Yeah.
All the elements.
Did you guys, where did you film it at? Did you go down to, try to make it, the vibe of the trailer, it definitely looks like you're trying to make it like she's going to the diamond mines and whatnot. Did you guys go travel for it, or?
Yeah, no, we originally shot it in South Africa, but then quite pan out, so we ended up shooting it in Tenerife, in one of the Canary Islands. So it needed all the locations. Neil likes to do as many practical things as possible, less green screen as possible, so everything was very real, you know, and the locations were great. So yeah, we ended up shooting it in the Canary Islands.
Definitely the practicality. You mentioned The Reckoning from a few years back. Horror fans definitely appreciate practical effects. I would say any genre appreciates practicality, but the horror fan definitely will, spot that in any movie just based on horror movies in general versus CGI. And it's, in a day and age now where like people are making movies just all with AI tools, with no living person attached other than the person composing it, the fact that people are still trying to make films with as many practical effects as possible, I think is super important.
It's so important, and it makes a difference. I think it doesn't matter how big your budget is. If you do visual effects, I just think you can just tell. Blood never looks like real blood. Creatures never look like, the legs we had all practical. We had a man in a suit, and I think it's free. If you can, practical is definitely all the way to go. I totally agree.
So what did you think that the biggest challenge in this one was for you guys?
As an actress or producer?
Both. Like just overall getting it in the can.
Well, it was very, very tough shooting it. It was during COVID. I got COVID during filming. We had to shut down for a few days. That was awful. Neil got COVID, so he had to direct via, which was absolutely awful. We had to close down for a couple of days, and it was very touch and go. I thought, the whole production was going to close down. It was terrible. So that was very, very challenging. And just the usual challenges along the way when you're producing a film. But in terms of acting, I would say, I've had more physically demanding roles like that. I feel like I had a challenging responsibility to make sure she is grounded and truthful and relatable as possible. She's not a superhero. She's not a spy. She's a regular girl.
Right.
So I'm more relatable.
Did you because you mentioned like Denzel and Man on Fire and Scarface and all these, you know, male crime bosses. Did you research whether or not they be from a movie or like a real world female, try to find inspiration from any figure, or was it all completely like Charlotte?
No, there was some stories that we picked up along the way. One of them was we met someone who was in the diamond world, and he was based in the UK, and he flew to, what was it, Monaco? No, he was in the UK, and there was an auction going to sell this massive big rock diamond for 500,000. He purchased it, and within 24 hours, he got a call from a Russian oligarch on his yacht that wanted to have it for like 10 million, something insane. Anyway, we took little snippets of story back. Really, like it's insane. The whole industry, it's an incredible industry. And you know how, I wouldn't say blood diamond, but there's elements to that in it as well.
I was about to say, the way that you're describing reminds me of Blood Diamond. That movie, I think, opened a lot of eyes for a lot of people. That came out when I was, turning like 20, and it was like, holy smokes, like this is something that, the West is pretty naive to, I think. And so when it's getting exposure like that, that makes you want to do the research and be like, damn, this is really going on.
Yeah, exactly. The good side and the bad side. And yeah, there's some, I don't want to give away any liners in the film, but any spoilers, but yeah, it is quite educational as well, on how dirty and corrupt and, like any industry, right? I mean, originally we were thinking of doing it like a drug cartel in Mexico, and I thought, oh my God, that's been done so many times.
Yeah.
Be involved in drugs. Let's do something a bit different and glamorous. Let's do diamonds. Not before, really.
Yeah.
So that's what we wanted to do, like a gangster movie, but in the diamond world.
And that is like a fresh thing. Like you just said, like, I love talking to just indie filmmakers too, because their ideas are fresh. And I mean, your guys' experience, speaks for itself. Not indie by any means, but the freshness is something that gets lost a lot in the like assembly line of mainstream Hollywood, where this makes money, so we're gonna make 15 of these because we know.
It's like the thing is with the big studio movies, their films are very vanilla. It's like, you get, you know what it is. It's nothing outrageous and crazy like Scarface. It's incredible. It's outrageous. It's brilliant. But the films today in the studio realm, they're just so mundane and vanilla. And one of the studios actually wanted the film, and they wanted to buy the script, but I wasn't going to be able to play Duchess. They were going to get someone like Charlize Theron, and they wanted to make it like $40 million, and we'll just lose all control. I said, no way. I'm the only person that can play Duchess, and we want to make it the way we want to make it. That's it.
Right on. That's something to be proud of, man.
Yeah, and you know what? There's so much content out there as well. Like, as you said, like there's good, there's bad, but there's so much being made. And you kind of have to hit audiences around the face, like, to get their attention, because they're desensitized today with everything. So that's why we didn't want to make a vanilla run of the mill action movie. We wanted to have something different and edgy and cool.
Yeah. So what? Because you were saying that only you can play Duchess. What was it that you knew you were going to bring to her character internally? Because those are roles. I mean, I've written stuff. And we've done short films and stuff, and I'm like, no, like only this person that I know is going to play this role. And was it like a matter of, as you're reading the script and you're doing the pre-production work, like you're already visualizing yourself?
Well, a big part of it was Neil. I mean, he wrote quite a lot of the dialogue. And he said, I think you're the only person that can play Duchess. And that's kind of why I opened up my own production company, because as an actress, I was making movies, I was getting jobs, but I wasn't really getting the jobs that I wanted. You know, good scripts are hard to find, and then good scripts with good female roles are even more hard to find. So it was kind of something that I wanted to do, you know, producing so I can, you know, act in my own films.
Sure.
Really. You know, I feel like, yeah, that's kind of why we did it. So, and before that, it was horror. So it was something very different to me, a very different genre that I was really interested to dip into.
Well, let's dip into it, because The Reckoning is a great horror film.
Thank you.
Award-winning horror film. What was it like working on that?
Well, that was my first film that I co-wrote, produced. I was very, very green on that one. And it was my first, I'd say one of my first leads where I was carrying the movie. Like, this movie was on my shoulders. So I felt responsibility, but it was amazing. I mean, it was probably one of my most emotionally challenging roles yet, because it was the whole way through the movie, she's kind of at a despair. You know, it's a tough film to watch. It's almost between a horror and a drama. So I had to learn to horse ride. I had to learn to sword fight. So that was a challenging role in every aspect. The producing side and the acting side on that one. But it will always have a special place in my heart, because it was my first baby.
How was it learning how to sword fight?
Oh yeah, it was. I never quite thought I was going to do it. Like, the sword fighting and the horse riding, I was like, leave that to the experts. I don't know if I want to do that. I'm going to look stupid. And it was my first kind of stunt work as well. Yeah. But then getting into it and practicing, I loved it. And I think a big part of it is confidence. Obviously, repetition, practice, and confidence. So, yeah, you can do this, and it's required for the role. So I was like, yeah, I'll try it. Let's do it. Let's see what happens.
So with Charlotte, with just you as like a movie fan, what would you say is your go-tos? Like, what do you love? It's a two-part question. What was the movie that made you be like, man, I want to get into this industry, or movies? And then what is now, as your career has evolved, like, what do you enjoy watching just in like your downtime? You're going to turn on Netflix or whatever and just watch something.
Growing up, I loved a lot of classics. I loved Gone with the Wind. I loved On the Waterfront, Casablanca. I loved, you know, all the old classics. And then, I mean, the thing is, right now it kind of changes. Depending on what film I'm making or doing, I do a lot of research, and I kind of like with The Lair and The Reckoning, I was watching loads of horror films. So then I really got into that vibe. And then for Duchess, loads of gangster movies. But it's such a tough one, because I've got favourite films in different genres. It's just.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, it's Split. Okay. No. Okay, I'll say The Thing. John Carpenter.
The Thing. Okay. I mean, Split. I mean, man, James's performance in that movie, and then the fact those are one of those core memory movie moments at the end of that film when you find out the whole thing is tied to Unbreakable. That I remember sitting next to my buddy and being like, "Holy shit, this is awesome!"
And just, I mean, John Carpenter, anyway, all of his films, The Fog, Escape to New York. There's just so many. But no, I'd say The Thing. But then The Shining is up there as well.
Oh, yes.
Alien. To be honest, it's all the old classics in terms of horror, I think. It's like that period of the 80s and, you know, 80s, 90s.
It's the Renaissance era of horror, man. Like that slasher period. I do feel like that we're kind of in a modern horror renaissance right now. Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff coming out. You know, Wes Craven kind of reinvigorated this whole slasher subgenre when he did Scream. It's hard to believe that it's almost 30 years ago, but
yeah,
the horror genre, as far as creative ideas that we're seeing, is finally kind of coming through. But
how many Screams, how many slasher movies were there before that until Scream hit? There must have been loads, but Scream just hit because it was executed so well.
Yeah, I mean, you had the the 80s, obviously, the Jasons, the Freddys, the Michael Myers. That was,
Halloween.
the subgenre was,
oh
yeah, subgenre is on fire. But then, the 90s came and it really slowed down there for a while. And then Scream came, and then as soon as Scream came, all of a sudden, Eli Roth is on the scene, and it really did. It threw a match into a can of gasoline for the horror genre.
This is so true, so true.
With your resume or your filmography, getting to work with Neil as many times as you have, what has that partnership been like?
Oh, it's been amazing. I think it's such a collaborative learning experience, because when we write, produce something together, I do quite a lot of producing, but then when it comes to the writing, he is great because he comes at it like a director, right? How am I going to shoot this? How am I going to edit this? How is this going to work? And then I come as a producer and an actress, like, yeah, but does this work? How about this? So it was a great combination. Great. And then after Duchess, we shot another film called Compulsion, which is coming out next year. Very different. And it's a Russian thriller. But it's Neil Marshall, so it's definitely got some killings in there as well. We kind of got it's a big inspiration for that was all the great Gallo movies. Mm-hmm. It's set in Malta. So I'm very excited about that as well. Very different. Very different. But I feel like yeah, Duchess was a long time in the making. It was our baby for a long time, so it's so lovely starting to see it, come to fruition. See it, everyone letting the world watch it, I'm very excited about it.
Is there a particular scene or sequence? Because I know you don't want to give spoilers away, but is there can you give us a bat signal pseudo, when we see something happen in the film, we can go back to this and be okay, this is what she was talking about, as far as damn, this turned out, better than expected, or something that you're particularly super proud of?
There is quite a lot of moments in there. I mean, so you've got a clump of fire, which is always definitely Beecham does to some poor person, and then you've got oh, it's so difficult without giving any spoilers. It's difficult. I mean, there was quite a few days where I had COVID and I had to. I was just on the end. Well, actually, no, I shot, and then at the end of filming, I realised I got COVID. So that was pretty insane. And that was one of the most emotional days on set, where I'm literally screaming, half dead in the desert. And that's I'm half dead in real life because I've got COVID. Yeah, so you see that and you go, oh, okay. And it was very tough because I had Philip Winchester, who's absolutely great. He was so awesome to work with. But I had him, I had to kind of lay over him. I was I can't go near his face because I don't want to give him COVID. So I was it was, the magic of filmmaking.
For sure.
No, but overall, I mean, we only shot 2 days in London. We shot 2 days here. But again, most of it, it was in the Canary Islands. The nightclub scene was meant to be shot in London, and my flat, all these places, all shot in the Canary Islands, and you wouldn't even know.
That's again part of the movie magic, man. And
movie magic, exactly. Smoke and mirrors, right?
Yeah.
And I love a good voiceover. I do love a good voiceover. That's why I love Goodfellas. It's one of my favorites. And I don't know. Every time I watch a film with a voiceover, it kind of just reels me in from the start. It's it automatically hooks me. even if it's bad, it's like, okay, don't worry, I'm listening to what's going on. I think so. I wanted that, and when we started developing it, and Neil put the voice over it, I was like, oh yeah, this is very cool, you know. So that's a big part as well. So
you talk about gangster movie voiceover work at Casino, man. That tough to do that.
Absolutely, and it's all got elements of. I mean, and I said, like, the cast, you know, Philip Winchester, Sean Pertwee, Cole Meany. I mean, in Gangs of London, and he was in Layer Cake. So he's done a lot of these gangster movies. So having him in the film, he plays my dad, was just incredible, amazing. And I met him on set. I didn't have a chance to rehearse with him, and I was at the scene is I'm visiting my dad in prison. So I sit with him, I'm like, hi, right, action. I was a bit nervous. I was like, just use it in the scene. Let's just go for it. So, and of course, we've got a nice exotic tiger in there as well. You know, to eat the bodies, make the bodies disappear. Yeah, cool.
Your regular tiger queen.
Well, you know, you can't. That was a brilliant. Oh, tiger. Yeah.
That show got me through the early days of COVID when I couldn't go anywhere, man.
Absolutely, wasn't it? It was brilliant, though. It was really that story, man. You couldn't even make it up, could you? You can't make that stuff. Oh, unbelievable.
The as far as can't make it up, and looking at roles that you have upcoming, I was like, man, I gotta ask her this.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to play a person that you want to talk about core memories of childhood. I can remember being I remember being in 5th grade, and our teachers, all of them in the wing of classrooms, wheeled in the TVs on the big carts, plugged the TV in, and said, we're going to watch this today because you may not realize, kids, how big of a deal this is. But us adults were watching The Verdict, and everybody plugged in the O.J. Simpson trial and watched it live. You playing Nicole Brown Simpson, talk about like heavy roles.
Yeah.
Like, where are you in the process of that project?
So we shot half the movie. Half the film is Nicole in flashbacks. COVID happened and the strikes happened and a lot of stuff happened. So,
right.
So we shot half the movie. Boris Kojo plays OJ. And the story really is about Nicole and OJ and what happened. So half the story, as I said, is about Nicole and OJ, and the other half is a real life lawyer called Douglas McCann, who sued Verizon phone records because, and to this day, Verizon have not given up these phone records, which prove hands down OJ couldn't have done it because Nicole was on her phone talking to her mum when OJ was on his way to the airport. There's lots, so that's just like one theory in there, and there's lots of others of DNA and things planted, and I mean things you've seen before but things you haven't seen before, and I think a lot of it is obviously things you haven't seen before, the dynamic of Nicole and OJ as well. So yeah, that was a tough role. What responsibility that was.
Yeah, imagine the amount of prep and getting the inside knowledge, like you're saying, that like people think they know, but truly stuff like that, like the only people who are truly going to know it all are the ones that were living the actual events. And man, and it's still, that whole thing is still such a sensitive subject, that case and everything. But Duchess, when are you guys releasing? When can we be looking out for it?
So Duchess is coming out, Sabana releasing it on the 9th of August.
Oh, so very right on.
I mean, you can pre-order it now on iTunes, but it's coming out the 9th of August, digital VOD, usual suspects, Amazon, iTunes.
Right.
Then I think it's coming out in the UK on the 12th. in cinemas here, which is great.
Yeah.
And also, you're more than welcome to come to the premiere. We're having a premiere on the 6th of August in LA.
Oh, wow. Right on.
That one.
Yeah, that's the more, you know, watching it in the theater.
Yeah.
It's
with an audience, you know, hearing the reactions and watching it with an audience on the big screen is the best. So I'm very excited for that. 6th of August. If you can, Charles will send you an invite. It's going to be fun.
Right. Yeah, that would be awesome. The fact that it's getting like a theater run in the UK is really cool too. Like, you think you're gonna like sneak in and like see people? I've always talked to, you know, directors or actors and actresses, and they'll be like, yeah, like I'll go to like a, you know, 8:30, 9 o'clock show and see who's watching it and just kind of like get in, get out before anyone really notices, for what you're talking about, to see how people are reacting to it live. Because people are fickle creatures, man. I actually had this conversation with my wife. We were looking up hotels for a family reunion, and she's like, how can this hotel have an 8.8 rating, but all the reviews that people are writing are mostly bad? And I'm like, because people love to write about and complain. They very rarely will take the time after the fact to praise, but they will take the 10 seconds to give it a 5-star, but they're not going to take the 90 to, you know, write about why. But my God, if they don't like something, they'll take 5 minutes to tell you why. And so getting that live reaction is tough to beat. Goes back to the theater aspect of your career.
Exactly. Seeing it live, having that energy around you is like, okay, are they laughing? Are they crying? Are they having an effect? Like, that's all I want, is for them to come out and hopefully enjoy it and have, you know, have some escapism for a couple of hours. And then I'm also very excited. I got back from New Mexico recently after filming Fight or Flight with Dolph Lundgren and Michael J. White.
Oh, wow.
Amazing. It was, you know, doing this film, which is so cool, but an action, but then going on to, oh my God, okay, I've got to play up, you know, not against, but I've got to play with their action standards, Dolph and Michael J. White. But I'm very excited about that one. That's coming out next year as well.
Right on. Where can everybody kind of keep tabs on you to like see, you know, you talking about all these projects that you got coming?
Thank you. I'm on Instagram, Charlotte Kirk Official, and Facebook.
Right on. Well, Charlotte, thank you for taking the time to talk about us. We cannot wait. You guys watching in the States, August 9th. You guys watching over there in the UK, August 12th. Be on the lookout for Duchess, and we will definitely be checking it out as soon as it drops, man. Thank you again. We would love to have you back.
Yes.
Talk about these projects that you got coming out next year, too.
Most definitely. Thank you very much.
Right on.